zaustavljajo ono, veš, da ne more, to, kar se ima zgoditi, se bo zgodilo.
Jaz se strinjam s tem delom.
Razno, če postaneš zavestne Krišne, pa imaš pa druge šanse, mogoče.
Ja, ista stvar te bo doletela, ista stvar te bo doletela.
Ja, sej, ni garancije.
Kaj prevod beri?
Ne, mislim, nešto prej.
A jaz delam?
Širi Damodarashtika 8 verzov v slavu Gospoda Damodarja, Krišni Bhakti, jaz in Spapa Purana. Podoba Vsevišnjega Gospoda je utelešenje večnosti, znanja in blaženosti. Njegovi uhani v obliki morskih psov nihajo sem ter tja. Ta Gospod čudovito blesti v božanskih gobulih. Najprej razbil vrč, v katerem je njegova mati pinila grobor za maslo, potem pa je ukradel maslo, ki so ga v shrambo hranili obešenega pod stropom. Zaradi te porednosti je v strahu pred materjo Jošodo urno pobegnil stran od lesenega možnarja, vendar ga je mati na koncu le ujela in se je tekla hitreje. Temu Vsevišnjemu Gospodu Šri Damodar izkazujem ponižno spoštovanje. V strahu pred šibo v materini roki joče, z lotosovima ročicama pa si spet in spet mane oči. Oči so mu polne strahu, okoli vratu, ki ga krasijo 3 črte, da spominje na škorko, pa nosi biserno ogrlico, ki se od hitrega dihanja ob njegovem joku trese. Temu Vsevišnjemu Gospodu Šri Damodar, ki okrog trebuščka ni zvezan z vrvmi, temveč s čisto ljubeznijo svoje matere izkazujem ponižno spoštovanje. Z otroškimi zabavami, kot je ta, prebivalce Gokule utaplja v ocean ekstatičnih čustev. Tistim baktam, ki so zatopljeni v znanje o njegovem veličastju in obilju, da je vedeti, da ga lahko osvojijo le bakte, katerih ljubezen prepaja zaupnost in ne hromi strahu spoštovanja. Spet z veliko ljubeznijo 100krat in 100krat izkazujem spoštovanje Gospodu Damodarju. O Gospod, čeprav lahko podariš vse vrste blagoslovov, te ne prosim, da blagosloviš z brezosebno osvoboditvijo, niti ne z najvišjo osvoboditvijo večnim življenjem na Vajkunti, niti ne s katerokoli drugo ugodnostjo, ki jo dobimo z upravljanjem 9 metod bhakti. O Gospod, želim si le, da se tvoja podoba Bale Gopali z Vrindavanjem zavedno naseli v mojem srcu. Kakšne koristi od kateregakoli drugega blagoslova. O Gospod, mati Jošoda znova in znova poljublja tvoj lotosov obraz, obdan skodri, mehkih črnih las z rdečim nadihom. Tvoje ustnice so rdečasti kot sadež bimba. Naj ta čudovita slika tvojega lotosovega obraza zavedno vstopi v moje srce. Na tisoče drugih blagoslovov mi nič ne pomeni. O Vsevišnji Gospod, izkazuj ponižno spoštovanje. O Damodar, o Anata, o Višnju, o Gospodar, o Gospod, bodi zadovoljen z mano. Blagoslovi me s tvojim milostnim pogledom in odreši tega ubogega nevedneža, potopljenega v ocean materialnega gorja. Pokaži se pred mojimi očmi. O Gospod Damodara, kot dojenček z vrvjo privezan k lesenemu možnarju, si sinova Kovere, manigrivo in nalakovaro, osvobodil narodovega prekletstva in mi povzdignil v velika bhakti. Prosim te, daj tudi meni svojo prema bhakti, krepenimo potem in si ne želim nobene oblike osvoboditve. O Gospod Damodar, naj najprej izkažem spoštovanje bleščeče sijajni vrvi, ki veže tvoj trebušček. Na to izkazujem spoštovanje tvojemu trebuščku, v katerem leži ves univerzu. Ponižno se priklanjam tvoje najdražji Šrimati Radharani in izkazujem spoštovanje tebi, Vsevišnjemu Gospodu, ki uprizarjaš neštete zabave. Vsa slava Šrimati Radharani in Damodarju Gospodu Krišni. Če se jaz motim, da
Sham Vishnupad Paramahams Prabhadakacharya Siddhartha Shri Sriman His Divine Grace Lacey Bhaktivedanta Smaraj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Four Premanande Rose Love is a running bhakti Love is Shri Guru Shri Granga Om Krishna Guraya Krishna Prasthaya Vidare Shri Made Bhaktivedanta Swami Kadamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharne Nirvishesha Srinivadi Bhakti Om Agadivandasya Garanjana Salakaya Chaksur Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shigro Shiyuta Parakamalam Shigram Vaishnavam Schala Shirupam Sabrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Dam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Prajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanzidam Shah Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Dhruvyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text number 11. It's the second longest purport in Bhagavad Gita. And now we have until midnight. Still fit in one day. Avajanati Mamuda.
Avajanati Mamuda.
Manushim Dhanam Ashritam.
Manushim Ashritam.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Avajanati Mamuda.
Avajanati Mamuda.
Manushim Dhanam Ashritam.
Manushim Ashritam.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Manushim Tanam Ashritam.
Manushim Ashritam.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Rambhavam Ajananto.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Manushim Tanu Ashritam.
Manushim Ashritam.
Parambhavam Ajananto.
Parambhavam Ajananto.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Dami.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Avajananti Mamuda.
Manushim Tanam Ashritam.
Manushim Dhanam Ashritam.
Parambhavam Ajananto.
Parambhavam Ajananto.
Mama Buddha Maheshwaram.
Mabuddha Maheshwaram.
Avajananti.
Avajananti.
Derived.
Right.
Mam. Me.
Me.
Buddha.
Buddha.
Foolish man.
Foolish man.
Manushim.
Manushim.
In a human form.
In a human form.
Tanum.
Tanum. Ashritam,
assuming,
assuming,
param,
Param,
transcendental,
transcendental,
bhavam, nature,
nature,
ajananta,
Ajanta,
not knowing,
not knowing,
mama,
my,
Buddha, of everything that be,
of everything that be,
Mahaishvaram,
Mahaishvaram,
the supreme proprietor.
the supreme proprietor.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Purport. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. Personality of Godhead who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishvaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another in the ordinary management of affairs in the material world. We find some official or director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world, but Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Satchitananda, not material. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in the previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, although he is not a common man. The foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manushim because he is acting like a man, a friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. This way, in so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually his body is Satchitananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. It is confirmed in the Vedic language also, Satchitananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer our obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1:1. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam Ekam Govindam. You are Govinda, pleasure of the senses and the cows. Satchitananda Vigraha. And your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss and eternity. Gopal Tapani Upanishad. Despite the transcendental qualities of Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of the Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born as an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore he is called Mudha. For only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is the master of the internal material energy. has been explained in several places, Mama Maya Duratyaya. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control. And whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. The soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy. And how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the Supreme Son of Godhead, Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception, so they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yoga aishvaryam, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this. They know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being, but if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appears on this earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sages headed by Shonaka inquired about the activities of Krishna, they said, Kritavan kila karmani saharanena keshava adi martyani bhagavan gura kaputa manushaha. Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so amassed and performed many superhuman acts. The Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being can perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands. But after the prayers of his parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child, as stated in the Bhagavatam 10.346. Bahuva Prakrita Shishu. He became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now here again is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. The 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also is stated that Arjuna prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. Tenaiva Rupena Chatura Budena. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjuna, again assumed his original human-like form, Manushanam Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna and are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29-21. Prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vasithaha sada. The Supreme Lord is present in every atom. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion of Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non-moving entities as the super soul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archa Murti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly wasting the form of the Lord in the temple. There are three kinds of devotees to the Lord. The neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. The devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or temple of the Supreme Lord. So as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should simply properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to the temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with one another perpetually, the perfect devotee of Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all-pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavan, he is always staying there. By his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Abhijanti Mamudam Anushindhanam Ashritam Parambhavam Jananto Mama Buddhameshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord that they're all going to be. Namo Vishnu Graya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dharamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shnivadi Vaskatya Desidharana. The whole purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to convince us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And therefore this verse is repeated in many different ways throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll ask our scholarly crowd to give us references in the Bhagavad Gita where the same thing is explained in different ways. Especially Ananta because he has access to all knowledge in his hands.
Doesn't fall out.
Does anyone know a verse of Bhagavad Gita that says that Krishna is God besides this one? Yes. Mai Saram.
Krishna is saying that there is nothing beyond many pearls on the thread.
Yes. Good. O conquer wealth. Madat Parataram Nanya Kinkit Asti Dhananya. O conquer wealth. All things resting on me because like pearls are strung in the thread. Anything else? Yes. Wow, go ahead, go for it. Translation.
So he is proprietor, the enjoyer, and well-wishing friend of all living entities.
Very good. Those that know me as the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, the ultimate, the joy of all sacrifices and austerities, and the Supreme, and the ultimate benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities contains what?
It contains peace.
Peace, yes, peace. For the pangs of material miseries. Anything else?
Aham sarvasya prabhu, mata sarvam pravartate, iti matvam bhajanti mam buddha bhavasana. I am the source of all spiritual material worlds. Everything emanates from me, and the wise one is perfectly engaged in my devotion and service with all the hearts.
Very good. Anything else?
Param Bhava Param Dhama Pavitram Brahman Maha Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhu. Arjuna is saying, and there are two verses. Ahustam Shasarve, Ahustam Shasarve, Devashi, Narada,
Devashar, Ustvam Rushya Sarve, Devashar Naradata, Asito Devavyasa, Swayam Tribe Pravishina.
Arjuna is saying that you are the supreme abode, supreme
Param Dhamma, Param Dhamma. You're the supreme person, the supreme ultimate. This is in the
purest and supreme Purusha person, unborn, Vibhu, the biggest. And then he's saying that you yourself are saying like this, and all the riches like Narada, Vedas, and Asita, they also confirm this.
Yes, very good. Well, the ladies?
No, just.
No, there's no verse code. No. What is the verse where Krishna says, they say this world is unreal. Satyam, apratishtam te, jagado haranishram, aparashparam, sambudyam, kemanya kama. Okay. They say that this world is unreal, it has no foundation, it has no God in control, it produces sex desire, and has no cause and lust. Naham pratisha sarvasha, yogamaya samavita, buddhayam navijanati, lokayam ajam aviyam. I am never manifested the foolish and intelligent, for them I am covered by my creative potency, yogamaya. And so the deluded world knows me not, if I'm unborn and inexhaustible. Vedaham samatitani, vartmanani to arjuna, bhavishani bhutani mam tu vedan kasana. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that's happening in the past, everything that's happening in the present, everything that's yet to come. I also know all of the entities that me knows. Ye yatamam prapadente, tam sataiva bhujamyanam, mama bhakti, let's start with janma karma chame divyam, evam yo veti tatpataha, tyaktva panarjanma, mlaiti mam eti sarjanam. That anyone who knows my the nature of the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not take birth again in the material world, but attains my supreme abode. Vita raga vaya pravada, manmaya mamupashita, ahava gyana tapasa, putamagavam agata. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all came transcendental love from it. Yajyatana punamaham, evam yasyasi pandava, yena bhutaniya sheshani, jaksashyatani tome. When you thus learn the truth, you know all the living entities who are part of me, and that they're within me, and that they belong to me. Ye yadhamam prabhadante, tam sataiva bhajamyaham, mama vartmanu vartante, manushapartha sarvasha. All of them as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Kunti. Anything else? Vedam Savasichaham Ridhi Sanavishto Atatsmitir Gyanam Aponam Ja Vidascha Savara Hama Eva Vedyo Vedanta Veda Veda Shaham. I have situated in everyone's heart. It becomes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I'm to be known. I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and you know the Vedas as they are, as it is. Yomam Ajam Samudo, Janati Purushodama, Sasarva Viktajante Mam, Sarvabhavena Bharata. Anyone who knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is said to be the knower of everything, as he engages himself in full devotional service without any doubt. Iti guyatamam shastram, idam yukva mayanaga, etat utva buddhimatsya krita krita stivarata. This is the most confidential part of all the Vedic scriptures. Whoever knows this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Something more? Every chapter is like that. Yo mam jayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sadhunan savati dhyayatan brahma bhaya kalpate. Anyone who engages himself in full devotional service and failing in all circumstances, at once transcends the three modes of material nature and comes to the level of Brahma. What's the next word? Brahmana hui pratishtha amritasya vitasya cha chastatasya chikarmasya shikasya kantikasya cha. And on the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is a perishable, immortal, and eternal constitutional position of ultimate happiness. We can go on, there's more than that. But the whole idea is that Krishna is trying to convince us that he's God. Obviously, we're slow in learning. So he has to repeat it 700 times. And then we have to keep on reading it over and over again. And one day we might come to the conclusion, hey, I think Krishna is trying to tell us something. He seems to be pretty subtle about it. He doesn't want to shock us, saying that he's the source of everything or something, But that's the point. In so many different ways, Krishna is explaining how he's God. And Bhagavad Gita is not only Krishna is holding the flute, is speaking Bhagavad Gita, but Krishna and his different incarnations is speaking Bhagavad Gita. As we know, when Krishna comes, all the incarnations come with him also. They, quote, merge into his body. Not exactly merge everything, but they come, and therefore different expansions of Krishna speak of Bhagavad Gita. Like when he says, Sarva Prakatim Swamadishtaya Vishvidami Punakana Buddha Brahmamimam Kristam Vivasham Prakatira Vasha. That Sarva Kamini in the 8th chapter. What is that chapter? Again and again, the day comes and the entities that help us to resolve. 7th chapter. Triviri Gurmaya Bavar Edik Sarvi Udam Jagat Oidam Navijanadi Lokayam Adam Avyam. Deluded by the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who both modes and inexhaustible. Among this Pritino Modam, Vavadinte Naradana, Maya Pritagyanam Asrim Bhavam Ashitya. Those who are grossly foolish, the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, particularly the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender to him. Anyone who reads Bhagavad Gita who's not a devotee will think, wow, this person's pretty proud. He's telling everyone they're dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. They don't surrender to him, they're the lowest among mankind. I mean, what kind of ego does this person have? Well, he deserves his ego because he does happen to be God. God has a special ego. Can't remember what it was. The wrong one. Ninth chapter and seventh chapter are quite similar to each other. Sarvabhutani Kandya Murtiyak Sambhavantya Sarvabhutani Kandya Praktinyati Mamikam Kalpashaya Panastani Kalpado Vishrijamyaham. O son of Kundya, at the end of millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. At the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So, very few people can claim that at the destruction of the universe, it all enters into that person. I mean, he'd get pretty fat. But actually, everything enters into Krishna, and he can keep the same weight. So that's Krishna's. When he opened his mouth and he showed all the universes to Mother Yashoda in his mouth. I mean, that's pretty good. And then if we want to think about it, as I said before, Krishna is in every atom, and in every atom where Krishna is, inside of Krishna, all the universes. And that means inside of Krishna, in every atom, all the universes are, and inside all those universes is Krishna, in every atom of that universe that's inside his mouth. He can go on. That's something to think about tonight. Yes, that's what it's like to be God. Any questions? Because after all, whatever class we're giving is all just meant to convince us that actually Krishna is God and we should surrender to him. That's the whole message. And after the end of the class, we go, what do you say God was? What are we supposed to do? And the class hasn't been very successful. At the end of the class, we go, I'm going to do it. I'm going to surrender to Krishna. That's right, it's Krishna. KRSA, but that's the only name. Yeah, what? Yeah, the flute is that. I'm going to surrender someone with the flute. Oh, he's a good musician, so yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Grandaraya Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Or yes.
Hands on the roof.